Hello, superfans, and welcome to Alberta News and Views, or Alberta Report, whichever one you're following me on. It rained in Nova Scotia again. And again, Tim Houston banned walking in the woods because it wasn't raining, but now it is. He hasn't lifted the ban because he doesn't feel like it. But I feel like walking in the woods, so whose feelings matter? This is, of course, from Jeff Evely, and this whole hiking ban nonsense coming from Nova Scotia has nothing to do with wildfires.
Hey everybody, Jeff Evely here out in Nova Scotia, and as you can see, this is not the woods. This is the park by my house. And I just ran out here really quickly with my rain jacket on, as you can see, because at the time that I was leaving the house, it was raining. Now, it didn't rain for very long. It came down pretty hard, but it didn't last long. And the same thing happened last night. We had a brief deluge in the middle of the night. And last week at the press conference update to give everybody on the wildfire situation, Tim Houston was asked, because we had rain last week, how much rain are we going to need before people are allowed to go for a walk in the woods? And the answer is Tim doesn't know. We don't seem to be getting any definitive answers on any of this. And then he was asked, well, since wildfires are seasonal, that means regularly occurring, does that mean that we're going to get banned from the woods again next year and then the year after that? And he said, well, I can't predict the weather for 2026 and 2027. So at this point, I think that it is worth reflecting on the reason that they banned us from the woods in the first place. And it wasn't because there was a wildfire raging in the woods. There were no wildfires raging at the time they imposed the ban. They imposed the ban because they were worried about wildfires. And being worried is a bad feeling, so they banned us from the woods so they could feel better. Now, when it comes to whether or not we're going to get banned again next year and the year after that, the answer is, if Tim Houston feels like it, yes. Now, when I was a kid and people would evoke their feelings in this way, we would always ask that person, whose feelings matter? And nobody would ever bother answer because we all understood that the answer is the dictator.
You know, it's always the same old playbook. Create the problem, provide a solution. The reason why they anticipated wildfires, they were scared there's going to be wildfires, so they banned people from going in the woods, mainly because the fires were human caused. Okay, now this is the press conference when they were asked what caused the wildfires and where was the location. When I say you create the problem, provide the solution, what I mean is they create huge chaos and instability, kind of like what's going on in Canada right now. So then they can implement solutions, but it's actually not a solution. It's pretty much whatever they want to make up for it. And then when you start thinking in terms of digital currency and digital ID and stuff like that, well, then you're going to want it because it appears as a solution to these problems. They create the problems. They created the bans. They create the homelessness. They create the drugs, the crime, and the chaos. Do you understand why he would want to ban people from entering the woods? It seems like it's preventing wildfires, but it's actually preventing human-caused chaos. Watch.
I understand that you're not able to say the cause of the Susie Lake fire under investigation. Are there early indications that this would be human-caused? I know that is largely what causes forest fires in this part of the country.
So that the cause of the fire was related to human activity. It was an open fire. There was nobody in the area when the crews arrived on scene. That makes it impossible to hold the person or people responsible to account. And yeah, that's frustrating to everyone. But
can you say like the location of the start of the fire more precisely?
No, I can't. I don't have any details. It is an ongoing investigation, and there's no
details. This is the Susie's Lake fire, right?
Yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any additional details other than it was human activity.
Was there a homeless encampment in this area where your crews responded to?
I think, again, sorry, but I think
see that
the investigation in time will look at the what, the why, the how, all those types of things. But for right now, the focus is just on containing the fire, fighting the fires, and just kind of reiterating to Nova Scotians that it's a risky situation, and just obey the laws that are in place right now. But the actual cause and stuff, that investigation that'll take place after.
The Premier of New Brunswick said the exact same thing, Susan Holt. We'll investigate all of this after the fact, and then they don't actually provide you with the findings because they think it's irrelevant. The media knows it was a homeless encampment. They're literally saying, is there a homeless encampment nearby? You know it was human caused and the location, but you won't provide the location of the fires. This is what I mean. It's for your own safety. Why are taxpayers accommodating chaos? Why are law-abiding citizens, seriously, having to give up all of their freedoms for criminals? It's unbelievable what is going on. And it leads me to this. This break and enter, and they are both charged. A Canadian homeowner has been charged with assault after he wrestled with a fugitive who was out on probation and had a weapon and broke into his home at 3 a.m. Why even bother calling the police? Seriously. How much longer are people going to put up with this crap? Politics in Canada is getting absolutely ridiculous and irrelevant. The blob is consuming everything that it touches. I've said this so many times, which is why all roads lead to Western independence. All pillars of society in Canada have been compromised now. Every single establishment, every program we have, every structure, everything, all the everything, absolutely everything the blob touches, it absorbs. What is it going to take? Serious question. What is it going to take for Canadians to wake up and want freedom, justice, and liberty, and want to create a safe, prosperous place to call home? What's it going to take for them to actually go through with it, get off their ass, and fight for truth, justice, and liberty? It is astounding what is going on. Canada has become irrelevant. Seriously, the biggest meetings, like that coalition of the willing, and Canada wasn't invited to that, speaks absolute volumes of the state of politics and how the rest of the world views Canada. Seriously. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care, and make sure you follow me on Substack, Spotify, and YouTube, and Facebook. And my other channel is Alberta Report as backup. Like, share, and take care.